Thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Clark. Journalism, at its best, better connects us to our neighbors, and few journalists have ever been better at that than our friend and colleague Corky Scholl, who passed away this year at the age of 48. Corky was kind and humble and welcoming, and he was one of America's greatest photojournalists. This is a celebration of his life and his work. Corky allowed us to better see our neighbors the way he saw them, as each worthy of dignity and respect. One such story was King James. Almost 2 decades ago, I was a young reporter working clear across the country when I saw Corky's story about a homeless street musician. It drew me to work at 9 News as a result. This is King James by Corky Scholl and reporter Adam Schrager.
Ain't nothing like the blues, y'all. Early in the morning. Ain't nothing like the blues, yeah. Early in the morning.
It's been said the blues are easy to play, but hard to feel. The man known as King James can do both.
Rushing waters going down the stream. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but I got the blues.
A lifelong love of muddy waters brought King James to the riverbank. A lack of Ben Franklin's in any other bank
You know the nighttime.
leads him to gigs only a blues man would understand.
I say you know the nighttime. Oh, I'm living the blues. Experiencing ain't the word. Oh, man, the blues.
That's my neighbor, King James Fisher. He's the music man.
Can't you see I got some stuff on my mind?
He can play it, he can sing it, he can do it all.
Yeah, baby.
He is cool.
Yeah, I got the blues. Day and night. Do 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 do. Blues just says it straight out. Let it roll, baby. It don't take one side or the other. It just tells you straight out the truth. And I'm lonely in a big pretty city like Denver, Colorado.
You see, as the seasons change, a pretty city reveals an ugly past for King James.
Something's wrong with this picture. Pitiful, bro. Old man blues. Won't you please sit down and talk to me and explain this to me? Sad, bro. This is sad. That pillow, all this, these people's clothes. This is where people live. God. Being homeless strips you of everything. I lived in this alley. Not only in this alley, a bunch of other ones around here. Street is hard, especially when you gotta sleep on it.
James Fisher has been clean, sober, and in low-income housing now for a couple of years.
I play the blues because try to let the people know that I ain't forgotten none of my friends out here.
But in here, King James can make that happen.
Here it comes. 1, 2, 3.
Right now, I'm in the studio doing a brand new CD.
Step a little closer, James.
Is that close enough?
I think he's got some talent and no one's given him a chance.
Yeah, just try another pass.
Except for Mario Casilio, who's producing the King James CD for free.
And if I had a chance, I would do it all over again. I think God has blessed him with a big old heart. If I had a chance,
King James hopes God blesses him with a big old audience.
I do it all over again, yeah. Money from this CD will go to the Homeless Coalition, and I'm gonna be trying to do my best to get somebody off this street. I don't wanna live it again. I don't wanna see nobody else living it.
The blues and homelessness. In many cases, it's not about choices, it's about reality.
But it's Christmas time. We all should spread a little cheer. Shouldn't have to sleep in the park. You ought to have somebody in your corner. Even if it's a dog that don't bark.
Or a blues man simply known around town as King James.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, and King James is on his way, yeah. Because everybody's got a life, and this is mine.
With photojournalist Corky Scholl, Adam Schrager, 9 News.
Hey there, I'm Ann Herbst, and I was lucky to know Corky since about 2005 when we were both in our 20s. I didn't pick a story that is one of his long 8 or 9 minute, year-long projects that are all really beautiful, but he could also capture really beautiful moments and surprises in stories that were only 1:30. And that's what I picked, which we affectionately call the turkey story. It just has little bits and pieces that are just so quirky and so surprising. And these types of stories just really showed his heart and soul and sense of humor.
It's your nice, quiet, average American neighborhood. It's very quiet out here other than the air traffic from the airport, but never seen anything like this.
This is the first time I've seen him.
And they chased me down the sidewalk.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy.
That was pretty cool, actually. We were just driving up and we're like, oh, what are those? And it turned out to be turkeys.
It makes me laugh every time. This is truly probably the strangest thing we've seen on the block. They have definitely attracted the attention of the entire neighborhood, that is for sure. They've just been up and down the block looking for food and hanging out. Who has turkeys in their yard?
I have no idea.
Apparently this neighborhood does today.
I guess so. It came out of nowhere.
They don't really seem to be bothered by anything, by anyone.
Apparently turkeys do not like the skateboard.
They're actually really attractive looking birds, and they look nice and plump.
Yeah, the butterballs.
They are funny little things.
What's the most excitement this neighborhood has seen before this?
Probably my roommate peeling out in his Camaro.
And they're fun to watch, so we'll just leave them be.
All in all, they're pretty calm turkeys.
Okay, when I think of Corky Scholl, I think of a few things. Brilliant, funny, empathetic, and best eye of anyone I've ever seen in the business. Think of all of those things when you take a look at this next story that Corky and I worked on a number of years ago.
It's a nice town.
If silence is indeed golden, then maybe that's why American towns have lost at least some of their luster.
You know, it's got noisier because there's more people.
So in Fort Lupton, there is an ongoing lesson in this.
Love my music. My music's good.
One person's treasure is, quite often, another person's trash.
It's boom, boom, boom.
Makes me crazy.
Thank you, everybody. Please be seated.
It was Judge Paul Sacco.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea.
Who first noticed something about the people who kept coming in for noise violations.
Have you been here before?
They were young, and their parents typically paid their court fines.
Any questions?
So he decided to try something else.
This is a way, I think, now that I look back, of teaching manners to people.
Why the teenage members of Revolving Reverends got into trouble recently
In the anguish, in the shame,
is pretty obvious.
losing grips with reality.
We'll let them tell you the how it happened part.
What happened is that
It was my dad's birthday, and he asked us to play there.
We didn't keep track of time. We kept playing music.
And the cop station is like 2 blocks away.
so yeah, that's that.
All right.
Judge Sacco says
So this is very serious.
he had no other choice.
This is a punishment.
These people should have to listen to some music that they don't like,
From Barney to Barry.
particularly Barry Manilow. I think it's hard on the kids. I actually like the Barry Manilow stuff.
Should you violate the noise ordinance in Fort Lupton, you will get 1 hour, one really, really long hour of this. Those who run the town say it's really cut down on the number of repeat offenders.
I want to choose my own music in my own house and not listen to my neighbor's music in my house.
I'm sailing away. Woke up, it was a Chelsea morning, and the first thing that I heard, I was dancing with my darling.
As for the members of Revolving Reverends,
Okay. That ends our class.
who knows if they'll be back?
Yeah.
Of course.
All of us are gonna still rock.
But it is fair to say, in any place where silence is still golden,
So keep the volume down.
that little golden rule still applies. With photojournalist Corky Scholl, Chris Van Der Veen, 9 News.
Coming up, as we celebrate the life and work of our friend and colleague Corky Scholl, a story about the rich history of southern Colorado, and a unique bike ritual in Denver and the people who power it.
Back in 2017, I wanted to do a story on the Spanish speakers in southern Colorado and northern New Mexico, and I convinced my grandmother to talk with me on camera. So I took Corky with me, and the way he made her feel so at ease in her little kitchen was just perfect. And this ended up being my most favorite story of my TV news career. Can time define a people? Can a place? Within the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in southern Colorado and northern New Mexico, the views feel like you're about to plummet into a deep valley or fall into the sky itself. It's here where I marvel at how my ancestors managed to survive in such a harsh place,
well before the first traditional Thanksgiving.
The first European settlement in this country happened here in New Mexico in 1598, 22 years before Plymouth Rock.
I can take most everybody in town and give them a family tree that goes back 16 generations.
That's amazing.
Most everybody.
The people here, like Maria Martinez and San Luis, are proud they can trace roots back to this land when Spanish settlers entered this region and began mingling with native peoples. A truly unique group of Hispanics with a genetic mix that can't clearly be defined. It's not brown or white. Names like mestizo, manito, hispano, nuevo mexicano. Their history is so complex, I will not pretend I can sum up who they are. But I can try to reaffirm our Hispanic identity as topics like immigration and the wall dominate the news.
We didn't cross the border crossed us.
I always say, like many, I didn't cross the border crossed me. I'm not an immigrant. We are indigenous to this land, and very proud of that.
For hundreds of years, people lived here as different flags changed over their heads. Spain, Mexico, the Stars and Stripes. Surviving for so long in this remote region, far away from changing government capitals, and perhaps still remote, this time from the discussion of Hispanic topics in this country.
We all have Native American roots. I mean, how could we not after 400 years? So much of what we eat, the music, all aspects of culture are kind of a kaleidoscope of different cultures mixed together.
That mix can be heard in the ancient Spanish spoken here that dates back to the 16th century.
Mira, está goteando el este. I have to tell Dickie now that he comes.
A mix of Old Spain, Native American, and English words.
Clavo. No creo que se cayó el clavo, so I put marks there.
I love hearing my grandma speak that Spanglish when I visit her small home in San Jose, New Mexico, just 30 miles near Santa Fe.
I'm glad you're saving the Ziploc bag.
Oh, yes.
Nothing goes to waste out here.
Y esos no me los va a partir el Dickie, que no los iba a partir.
The story of how she met my grandfather is as American as ever. A dance in town on a night when he had a break from his duties in the U.S. Army. He asked her to dance, and she makes it clear he did the chasing.
So back in those days, the girls couldn't approach the men.
Oh, no.
Why?
No, I don't know. Why?
Yeah.
It was respect, I guess. And nowadays they jump and then run away.
Moments like these, as we sit over enchiladas and natillas, make me appreciate history here. People who relied on their community and their churches when seats of government were too far away. People who were born and died upon this land.
She born in 1862, and it says in Spanish, she died at age 76. That's a long life to live in 1862 by those standards back then.
People who said goodbye to their sons when the U.S. government called for their service. From Medal of Honor winners to political leaders, I can go on and on about the contributions and successes of the people from here. It's who we are, and we are part of this country.
Who do you belong to?
Can time define a people? Yes, most certainly, and definitely a place too.
And so that's the misconception, that we're not Americans. We are Americans first. We were here before the Pilgrims on this soil in North America. Don't say Spanish or Mexican American, say American, period.
I got to work with Corky almost every Saturday, and it became one of my favorite days of the week because of him. Saturdays are usually lighter stories that might not make the weekday news cycle, but it didn't matter. Corky treated every story all the same. It amazed me the way that he captured those stories, those small connections between people, those small moments. He was so good at capturing the human experience, and you'll see exactly what I mean in this next story.
Sometimes, out of the clouds of chaos, something beautiful emerges.
We ride bikes. Yeah, we ride bikes.
And on Wednesday nights in Denver,
There's a theme every night.
beauty
What is the beautiful dress that you have?
and chaos converge.
Woo! Here's the rackets. These guys are crazy.
I saw a bunch of people riding on bikes, and I was just, waved and yelled and didn't know what was going on until...
What's going on is where the man with the bell chimes in.
Denver Cruisers, baby.
The Denver Cruiser Ride is
Just a bunch of people getting out and trying to have fun and ride the bikes around town.
it's really an elegant event.
Brad Evans gave birth to the Denver Cruiser Ride 6 years ago.
I posted some things on Craigslist, called some friends, hey, I'm gonna start riding every Wednesday, and that's how it started.
He's been there since its infancy
It is my baby.
and watched it grow into what it is today.
Yeah, it is definitely a grown teenager at this point.
And like a grown teenager, the Cruiser Ride has a rebellious side.
Circle of Death, yeah!
This is the Circle of Death.
Circle of Death.
I have no brakes.
Woo! I just love the Circle of Death.
Basically, you get a bunch of people going in a circle, and then the real crazy ones want to go the opposite direction everyone else is going. The object is A, not to get in a wreck, B, not to get hurt. Whoa! Oh my God! Ah! He just tasted the pavement. Standing on shaky ground.
Every week you've got Circle of Death somewhere, and you've got to pick a place.
You've got the aliens of death.
Cul-de-sac of death tonight. Yeah, cul-de-sac of death.
It's the first hydro Circle of Death that I've seen here. I mean, you've got splashing, you've got water.
Bikes seem to be the only ingredient necessary for this chaotic stew. But you don't even need a bike. Check out the guy in the red t-shirt and sombrero.
There is a huge attraction to the taste of the pavement.
It's an attraction that's spreading.
The first ride was 13 people, so it's kind of doubled every year.
It doesn't take a mathematician
We tried to do scientific counts.
to figure out
After it got over 500, we kind of stopped counting.
this is the kind of crowd,
It's grown this year to epic proportions.
the kind of crowd that might attract the attention of those for whom wearing a uniform is more than just a Wednesday night ritual.
Definitely awesome, questionably legal.
But Evans says he's worked hard to build a good relationship with the police.
We kind of came up with a cruiser code, which was follow the Denver Municipal Bike Code, ride to the right, don't run red lights.
And he says if you look beyond the chaos, you'll start to see the beauty of it all.
It's just created all these cool opportunities.
For the father of the Cruiser Ride,
I'm not people's mom,
the sight of this brings back beautiful memories.
but I got married here, so instead of riding off in a limo, they decorated our bikes with cans and just married. It's pretty fun to get married on bike.
A marriage that has provided yet one more gem of beauty.
Ruby. Well, the Cruiser Ride was the baby, and now this is the new baby.
Because out of chaos can come something beautiful. With photographer Corky Scholl, Aristea Brady, 9 News.
Corky's sense of humor came through in so many of his stories, whether it was his visuals or the questions he asked. He always managed to bring that warm personality into his work. Here's a good example, a story he produced with reporter Nelson Garcia.
There's not a lot of activities or anything to do here at the apartment building.
If getting out and about is the problem,
You get a little stir crazy in here.
Guy Orvis has the perfect solution.
That's the lazy boy.
Why leave the comforts of his living room
I hate to be cooped up.
when Orvis
It's got twin motors on
can take the living room with him?
there. It's just comfortable as hell. You know, my regular wheelchair is okay, you know, but it doesn't steer the same as this.
On sunny days in downtown Denver,
It's the only way to travel.
You might find Orvis
Every man cave needs one of these.
on his lazy boy wheelchair.
You don't have to get up to go to the refrigerator to get the beer.
After seeing the idea online,
How fast can I go?
About 6.5 miles an hour.
he spent a couple weekends taking an old wheelchair apart
It looks pretty interesting.
and mounting his recliner on the wheels and motor.
That's how we roll, right?
And no matter where he goes,
That's nice, that's neat.
I bet you could patent that and sell it.
he gets a reaction.
That's one of the main reasons I like bringing it out. People just see it, they smile.
That is the man.
If it's not the fog machine he placed on the back, if it's not
That's nice.
And it pulls wheelies.
his fancy moves,
That is cool.
Yeah, he got a fantastic chair. That's pretty neat, man.
Hey, I like that, huh?
I've never seen that before.
people love his chair
Everybody seems to like them, so.
Well, I like it.
just for the idea of it.
I'm 4 months pregnant. I want to sit in there.
Loving it. Laziness to its ultimate degree.
But if you ask Orvis, it's not at all about being lazy.
It's my smoking chair. Is yours reclined?
It's about making the best
okay.
of a bad situation.
Are you genuinely in need of a wheelchair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my regular chair won't make it real far, but this one will.
Years ago, he was seriously injured in a fall,
My right knee.
ending his career, placing him on permanent disability.
Me run in here.
While he can get up and walk, Orvis has a lot of trouble, especially over long distances.
And I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Everybody wants a chair like that.
If they don't want the chair,
It's great for football season.
You gotta get the wheels in there.
they all want a picture.
Hey, have a good day.
You too, man. Wait.
He just might be
But he just don't want to stay still.
the most photographed stranger in Colorado.
It's really funny. Everybody enjoys seeing it. Every time I bring it out, it's like the first time I bring it out.
I like to say that's pretty different.
Taking his living room wherever he goes,
That was a tight squeeze.
so he can keep on living.
Yeah, it beats the hell out of walking, huh?
With photojournalist Corky Scholl.
Seriously, can I sit on your lap and take a picture?
Oh, no, I might get arrested.
Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
Next, as we continue to celebrate the life and work of photojournalist Corky Scholl, an intimate look at the 5 Points jazz scene and the individuals that have made it special.
Corky's stories always take you on a journey. He had an amazing talent of combining great characters, human emotion, and excellent photography to make his adventures exciting to watch. This next piece Corky produced back in 2018, and every time I watch it, I always walk away amazed. It's one of my favorites, and hopefully you'll love it too. Here's 5 Point Jazz.
Why would we want to forget it? Why would we want to forget our history? The new people don't want to remember it for us. We got to remember it for ourselves.
It's something to behold. It's something special.
5 Points was the epicenter of what was going on in Denver music.
It's a part of history.
It's a most special place.
It was the Harlem of the West.
When you got to 5 Points, there was everything there.
Oh, it was magnificent. The good old days when 5 Points was 5 Points. It was an open, eventful, cultural, inner city neighborhood.
When I think of 5 Points, I think of jazz, and it permeates from 5 Points.
The neighborhood is changing, but this will always be the place for jazz.
There are a lot of firsts that come out of 5 Points, many trailblazers, too many to count. And it's really important that folks in Denver and in the area understand what they have in the legend of Charlie Burrell and Norman Harris Sr.
You know, today there's a gentleman by the name of Norman Harris Sr. He is the godfather of 5 Points.
You can't think about 5 Points without seeing the work of Mr. Norman Harris Sr. This building was owned by Mr. Harris.
Norman Harris Sr. He's my grandfather.
It's 5 Points.
He's a businessman.
5 Points.
He's an entrepreneur. One of his biggest contributions was that particular building.
He rented it out to military veterans and made it affordable.
It's a special place for all these people you see. Most of them were born and raised here, right here.
Mr. Harris was quite a gentleman. He did a lot down there on the points.
That's the one that was 2 years older than me, Harris.
Thank you all for being here. The honoree today, Mr. Charles Burrell. He's the most important musician in the history of Denver. And here comes the birthday cake.
Charlie Burrell and 5 Points, the two go together.
Charlie was the first person of color to perform with a major symphony orchestra back in 1949.
He's often referred to as the Jackie Robinson of classical music.
So thank you so much, Mr. Burrell.
I have friends I haven't forgotten about, I never will forget.
When you think about 5 Points and jazz, Charlie Burrell has got to be the name at the top of the list. He became the house bassist at the Rossonian Hotel, playing with some of the most famous jazz musicians.
I asked you, I said, did you ever play for Billie Holiday? And you asked me, which time?
I try to imagine what it would be like to have that longevity and live that long.
That was way back in those days, okay.
And see incremental and slow change for so long.
It'd be different, but it'd still be 5 Points.
And then all of a sudden, see this rapid clip of development.
There's a change coming. There's a change coming.
5 Points is going through a major, very rapid transition.
3 to 5 years from now, you won't be able to recognize the place.
Rapid development, huge buildings coming in, the demographics are shifting.
It's different. It's different now, you know?
It don't feel the same anymore. It doesn't feel like home no more. Denver has a future, and you ain't included.
That Ink Coffee sign, it seemed like sort of a poke in the eye, a mocking of the history of the community.
To put up a sign saying we're happily doing this, it's insulting.
It's sad. Sad.
It makes you feel like that you're losing. You know, the whole history is being lost.
5 Points doesn't feel like a community right now. Community looks like groups living in unity and understanding their interconnectedness. Community to me means taking care of your elders. Community to me means honoring our past and knowing where we came from.
Today we thank Norman Harris Sr., 5 Point Jazz Festival Parade Grand Marshal.
Part of the work that Norman Harris Sr. did around the affordable housing for veterans was about building community.
And it's going to be hard to, you know, pass this building and think about Mr. Harris not being here.
You can't talk about Denver without talking about Norman Harris.
A lot of people in Denver are still grieving the loss of Norman Harris Sr.
As a businessman, he loved the 5 Points. He was always trying to find a way to preserve the heritage of the community.
It hurts that he's not here physically, but he's here. He's here in every move I make, I promise. He's here.
Unforgettable, though never far.
If you had a chance to spend time with Norman Harris Sr., he was a lover of all people, young, old, middle-aged, and Charlie is the same way. It's time to really honor and pay attention to both of these men.
Hello.
Charlie?
Yes.
5 Points to me is legacy and history
We just wanted to wish you well for tonight.
and trials and tribulations and triumphs.
We're going to be happy to see you run up on that stage.
All of those adjectives embody Charlie Burrell.
I love the guy, and it's going to be fantastic to honor him in the Colorado Music Hall of Fame.
I took a trip on the train and
Charlie. Hi, brother. How are you?
looking dapper, my friend, but you always have. I passed the shadow.
For Charlie to be here to accept that award, it's great to commemorate that. Legacies are lost if they're not tended to.
Come on in, Charlie.
His ascension to the Colorado Music Hall of Fame, it cements his legacy. He means everything to jazz music in general, but specifically he is jazz music when I think about Denver and 5 Points.
And here he comes. Here he comes at 97 years young. Here he is with that $1 million smile, the one and only Charles Edward Burrell Sr. Look at that, Charlie.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
5 Points has always had a special energy. It's always been an epicenter of creativity and vibrancy. And there's something extremely special about it that can never be erased.
And that's about it.
They live the motel life, often overlooked, but not by our friend, Corky Scholl. A look at their lives and challenges next.
Corky's stories had a way of taking you into these worlds that you don't know anything about and helping you just live in them for a little while. The motel life for me does that in a way that nothing else I've ever really seen on local TV news does. You meet the people, you care about them and their story. Visually it's stunning and it really takes you into the world of the motel life.
The motel life is very, very hard.
What's happening here is a tragedy.
There's people always coming and going.
It's not really by choice.
Sometimes it's a short stay, sometimes it's a lengthy stay.
When I see you in the morning.
They know this is sort of the last place they've got before they're living on the streets.
Still in your eyes.
Every motel has a different culture. It's a fascinating place to be, but they are all very, very different. We have folks who have just barely enough money to survive at the motels, and they're there not because it's ideal and not because it's where they want to be, but because it's their only option.
People have to live somewhere. They can't just be on the street.
There are so many people who can't even afford this.
Hundreds of little kids are living and growing up in these motels. When I started doing outreach, I was horrified by what I saw.
Go inside, have a cookie, turn on the TV and calm down. Thanks, Mom.
It's just like an apartment. Unfortunately, it's here. It's here at the King's Inn, so. Altogether, there's 8 of us. It's a 1-bedroom with a bathroom and a kitchen.
The people who live in the motels are doing the best they can. And for whatever reason, whether that's a criminal background or poor credit, they're in this motel trap.
How old are your kids?
10, 7, and 5. You like it? I think it looks adorable on you.
Colfax Community Network was started solely to work with folks in the motels.
And I got off probation.
Oh my God!
DWI.
Hundreds of people are living this way.
I felt like my children had to have somewhere. I didn't want them in the streets, so of course we started coming to the motels. This is Camille with the basketball. I had my dream home. I had all of that, but due to certain circumstances that life may bring, things changed pretty quickly. I ended up getting a criminal history, and with that criminal history, it kind of denied me a lot of things that I qualified for. And after that, I still had to resort to somewhere to live with my children. And what did I do? Come to the motels.
And we played out here in the yard. Grass was green then. Childhood wasn't normal for us. We didn't have sleepovers and slumber parties, and life has always been stressful.
Being a touring musician, I've stayed in a lot of motels, but I've never really had to rely on the motel as my principal place of residence. The cause that I've wanted to champion the most is homeless families. The struggle is so real, and it's really something that can happen to anybody.
Yeah, he likes it up there. He feels tall.
What I thought would be a really good solution would be to rally the support of other musicians and put together a compilation album and then donate the funds to Colfax Community Network.
The next number is G54. G54.
It's no one's first choice to live in a motel.
N37.
There's just not enough places to live. And certainly not enough places to live that are affordable.
Living here, you know, a lot of people stereotype it. Oh, you know, it's such a bad place. It's not the Taj Mahal, but it's what we need. It gives us a safe place to sleep, a place to live.
These motels are the safety net for this community, and they once were a grand destination.
At one time, the motels were really nice, and if you look at the old postcards, they've got these swimming pools, and everyone's out having fun, and it's really kind of this swanky environment.
They were destination motels, and for a lot of reasons, that's no longer the case.
They're definitely not in the condition that they once were.
10 o'clock, my door gets locked. It stays locked.
You remember the song, Creeps Come Out at Night? Our little strip turns to Halloween at night.
And there's a lot of crime that happens. There's violence that goes on. Folks from jail are paroled to a lot of these motels.
Oh, Camille, boy, do I miss that girl.
This summer, there was a murder at the Sand and Sage Motel.
Camille was my baby sister, and Camille came home after ending her 7-year prison sentence.
Camille hated this environment for us. She did not want to come home out of prison to this because she's seen the trouble that it had gotten her into, myself and others. And she kept helping her mama. She would call me old lady. Old lady, we're gonna get out of here. I don't like this place for you. I'm afraid for you, and we're gonna get out of here. And that was her hope and her dream, and we were this close.
The sweetest thing I've ever known is loving you.
I miss her dearly. And since she's been gone, it ain't easy living without her. She's my best friend.
I have grandchildren now, and I would love to have a place that I could have my grandchildren being here, there, and everywhere. It's hard. And as I say, if I can get in and have my grandbabies in my life back and not see another one of mine perish out here on these streets, that would be enough for me before I leave God's earth. That would be enough for me.
You're my rain, sweetest thing I've ever known is loving you.
The motel life is hopeless. It's a vicious cycle. It's becoming a norm, and it's not normal.
The motel life encompasses life from inception to death and every human challenge that happens in between.
Thank you for being with us as we remember our friend Corky Scholl and celebrate his work better connecting Coloradans to their neighbors. We miss him very much, but we know that the spirit of Corky's work continues anytime we stop and listen and learn more about each other. Thank you for being with us.